Games to be sold, not told. So we finna keep everybody broke. They say time is money. They say money talk. I ain't got no time to waste if you ain't got no time. Out and about, out chasing paper. The streets of my house and the house always wins like Vegas. Never down for the count. Second win, second nature. Found mine. Never had my hands out. Fuck favors. By design, everything tailored. In my youth, it was shell toes, no Chuck Taylors. We choke game, how to have a game show. It's still the same code game, so it's still the same code. We all pay the cost, pay dues. Move with the mind state that I can't lose. On the grind, push a hard line with my linemen. Back when I was young, they said it's all about timing. Till it's my time, all the stars are aligning. I'm a diamond in the rough, couple cuts got me shining. This game you cannot cop on consignment. In the field, all we do is execute assignments. The game should be sold, not told. So we finna keep everybody broke. They say time is money, they say money talk. I ain't got no time to waste if you ain't got no time to talk. The game should be sold, not told. So we finna keep everybody broke. They say time is money, they say money talk. I ain't got no time to waste if you ain't got no time to talk.
First, we get into this paper. See, I want it all, plus some UNDERDOG acres, a lot of alcohol, few dad bags of paper. Run this shit like a ship and I'm the sailor. Cold, kinda like it's fresh up out the freezer. Cold, if she ain't talking bread, I don't need her. Soon as I meet her, I'm a fucker, then I leave her. It's the old Mac knees, treat them all like bottom feeders. Break it down slow for them folks that don't know. I'm a seasoned vet, black belt out the dojo. With a wide range of weapons, so I'm out the holster. Keeping all options open, so many ways that I can fold ya. Told you from the gate, never been about no play. Get it on the go, they never been known for no delay. The game should be sold, not to be told. Keep your mouth shut, don't have to break the mold. Mac knees.
Break the work down, it's fist to move. Push that work out, I distribute. Break the work down, it's fist to move. Push that work out, I just distribute. A young pack mover, shot to my consumer. Jumping out the foreign or I'm hopping out the Uber. Crew clocking chips opposite of you losers. Can't be broke as a joker, got no sense of humor. Just a young pack mover, shot to my consumer. Jumping out the foreign or I'm hopping out the Uber. Crew clocking chips opposite of you losers. Can't be broke as a joker, got no sense of humor.
I'm a D-boy, need abusive as users. I'm a D-boy, need abusive as users. I'm a D-boy, need abusive as users. You know I'm the boy, get money's what I'm used to.
Keep it straight from the gate, so I don't confuse ya. I'm a D-boy, need abusive as users. I'ma make noise, shout to my producer. I'm an entertainer, but I ain't here to amuse ya. Yeah, fuck with shooters and they all fucking users. Come through, wake that ass up like a rooster, hella early in the morning. Early bird gets a worm. Finna get rich for 'em, food for the worms. Cutting cocaine, dumping whole things. It's a cold game, make you run your gold chain. Hungry, but I'm moving in a keto state. For sure, beat the price on the keys in your state. Catch me running up a tire, fucking up a bag. Make me wonder how long will a good thing last. On my Curtis Mayfield, live a life I can't chill. Push a man, pushing packs, all I do is make squeal. Keep it 100, I'm just numb, yo, I can't feel none of these suckers when they say they real. Stacking Uber cash, I'm an out-of-state supplier. Random Uber man, he'll get away drive. Just a young pack mover, shot to my consumer. Jumping out the foreign or I'm hopping out the Uber. Crew clocking chips opposite of you losers. Can't be broke as a joker, got no sense of humor. Just a young pack mover, shot to my consumer. Jumping out the...
What is happening? It's Tuesday night. It's the Dynasty Show. Hammer in the building.
Hold on, I'm trying to get my ink. Ain't shit. Trying to get my angles right. The
Yeah, get your angles right. Shout out to everybody in the
we in the
chat.
building.
Daniel, Chris, Huss in the building, Marty, Song, Crispy, Isaac, Heaven, Bogey. Shout out to Bogey for the intro music. And Mary in the building. What's up, everybody? How is everybody doing on this fine Tuesday? It's been going well for me so far this year. So
Oh, that's why it's a fine
I don't
Tuesday.
have, huh?
That's why it's a fine Tuesday.
It's a fine Tuesday. It's a fine Tuesday. But what's up, Hammer?
Not a damn thing, bro. It's been a long day for me. Been up earlier than usual this morning. I had some trainings that I'm conducting at work, so long week for me, but I'll power through. I was actually upstairs like 10 minutes ago, just laying on the bed with my eyes closed, and I'm like, damn, I got to do the show. But the level of commitment is always there. I'm a man of the people.
I was doing the same thing. I took a little baby nap. And now we're ready to go. We got the fuel going. All right. Spark up, everybody. You know, it's Tuesdays on the 420 Hustler Network. Isaac said he just traded Lamar for Pacheco in redraft. Who's your other QB? I'm guessing it's got to be one QB. So I'm sure you have another QB.
I'm actually trying to make a trade in my home redraft league. I have 3 quarterbacks. I have Patrick Mahomes, I have Trevor Lawrence, and I have Jordan Love. And all 3 of them have finished their buys. So I'm trying to convert one of those quarterbacks into something I can use down the stretch. I'm 5-5. I'm in the 7th spot, so I'm right in the mix for a playoff spot. So I'm trying to convert one of those 3 quarterbacks in a 2 quarterback league. So it's, quarterbacks are a hot commodity. So I'm trying to upgrade my roster by trading in one of my quarterbacks, take advantage of the situation. So I would imagine Isaac has some other quarterbacks on his team.
He's got Dobbs and Purdy. You could roll with Dobbs right now. I mean,
you can.
He's a legit like top 10 option with the weapons around him, being able to run. I mean,
who would have thought?
So Mary said, "Is Noah trash or pass with Nico back? CJ slinging it. Deontay disappointed. No on the waiver to back up my Nico out." Yeah, Deontay was tough. He definitely did disappoint. He was disappointed. I think he's got a tough matchup this week.
Who's
that?
Who
they play?
Deontay you talking about?
Yeah. They got the Browns this week. So, but yeah, I like Noah as long as Nico's out. Like Noah's kind of just slots right in. I mean, so like I'd play Noah until Nico's back.
Yeah, I agree. And we had a bunch of Noah comments or Noah questions leading up to this week. Obviously, we knew Nico was out. So if you roll with Noah Brown, and I recommended Noah Brown in a bunch of different situations, I think you did as well. So if you roll with Noah Brown, it paid massive dividends this week. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we got JT too because he traded G Willie. Okay, I like that too. There you go. Philip in the house. What's up, Philip? Got JT Cook and Pacheco now going to try and flip one for a stud wide receiver. There you go. You got some options. Howell or Kyler rest of season. Brutal playoff schedule for Howell. Kyler's is slightly better. Playoffs are week 15 to 18.
I think at this point, it might be Sam Howell. You can make the argument for both either way. Kyler was pretty damn solid. I thought Kyler would be a little more rusty. Surprisingly, Hollywood didn't get as involved with Kyler playing, fairly well. Threw for 249 and an interception, 6 for 33 on the ground and a touchdown. So a little bit of a mixed bag. I think I'd go with Sam Howell. I mean, we've seen how prolific he's been. He's slinging it all over the place. So I think I like Sam Howell for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument for either one. They're probably both like back-endish QB1s, I guess. I mean, Howell's been slinging it, but that's tough. It could be Howell here.
Steve, you're
No.
light, uber bright. I don't know what. Oh,
My
there it goes.
light's uber bright. Oh,
Yeah, your screen was
good.
super bright. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I guess you could roll with Howell. I mean, you could roll with Howell. That's fine. They're probably relatively going to be similar. Maybe Howell has just that little bit more upside passing because they're just throwing the ball a ton. I mean, who would
Yep.
you prioritize, Noah Brown or Cooks?
It really depends. I don't want to overreact to the Brandon Cooks game. It was against the Giants. So I don't want to overreact to the Brandon Cooks stat line. I don't want to overreact to Noah Brown either because, obviously Nico was out. But even with Nico, I think was Nico out the week before when Noah Brown went crazy? I don't
Yeah,
remember if he was out 2 weeks
hurt,
ago.
or he got hurt in that game.
Okay,
I
so
think.
yeah, I that's a tough one. I think I would lean Noah Brown, but Brandon Cooks just has been way too inconsistent. Obviously, he didn't really do anything the first 6 weeks. And then the last 3 to 4 weeks, he's getting in the end zone. I think he has a touchdown in 3 out of his last 4 games or something like that, 3 out of his last 5 games. I think I'd lean Noah Brown, but it's hard to really differentiate the two. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I would prioritize Noah Brown just because if you're gonna play him this week, like this is the week that you want to play a Noah
True.
Brown. If you're talking about for the rest of the season, maybe it's Cooks because Nico will be back at some point. But I'm not sure when Nico is gonna be back. I mean, I don't know how severe this injury is or how long it will sideline him. So yeah, give me Noah Brown and that upside. I mean, Cooks has had that one good game, which was last game. Other than that, I mean, like you said, he did score some tutties, but he's not giving you much production at all. So
No, the
give me
targets
Noah.
are not great.
Started both Commanders in Week 10, one matchup. Think I can pull off the same thing with the Jets.
Most likely no. I think I would go B Rob. Yeah, I don't trust Gibby a ton. I believe he had a receiving touchdown. But I don't trust Gibby a ton. B Rob is the guy you want to start and then see if you can kind of pick up somebody. If you have to start both of them, then so be it. But what are your other options, Kev?
Are you talking about starting like Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook? Is that what you mean here?
No, he started both running backs from the Commanders, and they have. Oh, can I pull up the same thing with the Jets? Does that mean they're playing the Jets, or does he
No, they're
want
not
to?
playing the Jets. They're playing the same house. I mean, they're playing the Giants, Washington. Oh, Giants, he said. Okay. I think you can pull it
So
off with the Giants. Yeah, I mean, if you're strong at the other positions, you can pull it off. I mean, Gibby's been getting some decent catches. I mean, and they're playing the Giants who aren't that good. So, he's going to be decent for you, but as long as he gives you like a 10-ish points, I mean, it should be, you could be happy
then
with
you're
that as
good.
long as you're
Yep.
strong, right? It's just strong other options. So,
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I'm just curious what his other options are that he has to play both. You know what I mean? Obviously, with bye weeks and everything, injuries kicking in. I would like to kind of see what the other options are, so you can at least kind of. I think B Rob is the guy you want to play,
yeah,
but
for sure.
it gets tough down the stretch. It gets really tough down the stretch with the bye weeks and injuries and shit like that. So at this point, you kind of got to make do with what you have.
Well, listen, on the docket for tonight, dynasty wise, we're going to be talking about Jordan Love, who we briefly spoke about last week. We're going to be talking about the sun god himself, who's just been on a fucking tear. And we're going to talk about Mike Evans, who's just been kind of a contender's gold. So we'll get into some of that. For now, we'll answer some questions, and then we'll get into some of the dynasty content there. But Pedro, what's up, Pedro? Should I be worried about Monty?
No. Why would you be? He had a hell of a game. I know most of it was on that 70-yard or however long that long run was. Most of his day came on that run, but no, I wouldn't be worried. And we kind of figured that going in. The statement was that they're going to be in a virtually a split backfield. But I think that offense is good enough. That offensive line is good enough, right? Their quarterback is really good. They have good weapons on the outside. They have a good tight end. They have all the pieces that both of these guys are startable running backs on a week in, week out basis. It's just that simple. So they're getting 12 to 15 touches each, which is basically what we kind of figured based on what the information was. So if Monty and Gibbs are getting 12 to 15 opportunities a game, you got to be, satisfied with that.
Yeah, I mean, even more than that. It was Monty's first game back, so he had 12 for the 116, right? Gibbs had 14 carries, and then he had another 5 targets. So I've always kind of consistently said the perfect like thing that they're probably going to want to do is like 10 to 13 carries for Gibbs, and then 5 to 7 in the air. Like they're going to give him his opportunities, and this is kind of exactly what he had here. So this is what we want from Gibbs. Obviously, he had the 2 tutties on the ground. And he had that one big play, and I guess they probably just let him score the tutty there, rewarded him with the big play. But typically, like they'd put Monty in down there. So, and also the game script as well, with the Chargers, it was a lot more, scoring wise. It wasn't, a game they're up in. They need to run the football. So, I would take
Yeah.
that into consideration as well. But yeah, I think I'm with you. I'm not really worried about Monty. Like Gibbs is going to get, his opportunities, but Monty's still going to be the goal line guy, and he'll still be the guy that gets the majority of the carries, I would think, in
There's enough
a
work for both of
better
those
game
guys.
script. Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think there's enough work for both of them. So Gibbs is obviously the more explosive, like going to give you some great high upside.
Yep.
Would you do Pacheco for Pittman? Yeah, I'd do that. Take some
Yeah, I wouldn't
Pittman.
mind that. I mean, considering that you have good other good running backs on your squad.
Gibby
You
and
need some
B
wide
Rob.
receiver help.
Other options are Herbert, Chandler. Chandler's interesting because I think Madison. I mean, you gotta monitor Madison right now, but he is in concussion protocol, so that is interesting. Ty Chandler possibly getting a start. So I definitely look to probably play him over Gibby if Madison is out. So I think we just need to keep an eye on that. Isaac said free Cook. Now Dorsey got fired.
Did he? I didn't see
Oh,
that.
I didn't see that either.
Yeah,
Blessings, brother. Another week. What's up, Birdman? Shout out to Birdman.
they did fire Dorsey. Holy shit.
Did they? Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. They did. They did. I did see that. My bad.
The
I
Jets
did
cut
see it.
Michael Carter as well.
I saw that too. I mean, they got Izzy. I guess he gets the next. He's the next guy up. So, Izzy would be the next guy in the backfield. Yeah, I mean, cutting Michael Carter.
Wasn't
I
doing
guess
a
they're
hell of a lot.
comfortable. They're comfortable with Izzy. They're comfortable with Cook, I guess. You know.
Something interesting that I heard when I was listening to the radio today is that they're not even utilizing Brees Hall that much even. Like I think he got 14 carries on Sunday? And that was a close game. Like
13.
that game was in reach. He got 13 carries and only 3 targets. Now he did have 47 yards receiving on those 3 targets, but only 13 carries for Brees Hall in a game that the Jets should have won. Realistically, that's a little concerning.
I mean, Cook only had 4 carries, so it's not like
No, but I'm not even looking at the Cook carries. I know what you're trying to say, like, was Cook siphoning
trying
off,
to
but
see. Yeah, I'm trying to see, maybe
13
if there's some
carries?
kind of
Damn.
explanation for it. Let's just check out Zach Wilson's bum ass. Yeah, I mean, they had Zach Wilson drop back 39 times.
That's wild. And it was virtually a one-score game that entire way. So for Brees Hall to get 13 carries and Zach Wilson to throw it 39 times is a bit ridiculous.
That's true. That is true. Roshan or Mitchell?
Yeah. Keaton Mitchell looks like he's a playmaker out there. Now, I do worry about his opportunities, but it looks like Keaton Mitchell has the explosiveness. And when you do it in back-to-back games and you get in sunburn, I'd go Keaton Mitchell at this point on a team that likes to run the ball.
Yeah, they said they're gonna give him some more, some more opportunities. He didn't get a lot of opportunities last game, but all he needs
But he
is,
cashed in. He cashed
all
in.
he needs is a few. So I do like Mitchell. It's close between him and Roshan because Roshan is probably, well, hell, not even. I mean, looking at a better offense on the Ravens as well. So Roshan got, a bunch of targets last week, but Herbert should be coming back, I believe. So I don't know how that's going to
Mhm.
divvy up. I think Roshan has got kind of the third down role and pass catching back. I think he's kind of got that role cemented, I think, but
Mhm.
we'll see what happens when Herbert comes back. So yeah, I mean, if we're talking about just for like next week, yeah, we're playing Mitchell. We're playing Mitchell
Mhm.
and kind of taking it week by week. So
I mean, I'm looking at the thing and it says John Harbaugh said he will be more involved this week. He
yeah,
only
that's what
he
I'm
had
saying.
that early touchdown and then he just disappeared after that, which
Well,
was like, listen, if you played him, you cashed in because he got you a touchdown. But he was basically phased out in that game. I know it was kind of like an up and down game, and the Ravens had the lead, so which made that even more curious that they didn't utilize, Gus Edwards and a little bit more Keaton Mitchell to kind of mix it up. But I do think he's shown that he's explosive. He's shown that he could make plays. He's shown that all it takes is one touch for him to make an explosive play. And I think the Ravens can use that, to their advantage.
yeah, I mean, I think the pass blocking is probably the biggest thing
Mm-hmm.
why Hill might still get a little bit of work, but he can pretty much he's going to overtake Hill basically. So it's going to be Gus Edwards as like the main dude, the goal line dude, and then Mitchell is going to be that change of pace guy, that Tony Pollard-ish style guy that
And
comes in. So
that could be super valuable if he's getting
could be.
8 to 10 opportunities a game. I'm comfortable rolling him out there in the RB2 slot if I know he's going to get, 8, 10 opportunities a game, because
A lot of
clearly
people
he could cash it in.
a lot of people asked about Mitchell for a while. And we said just stash him if you could. It's just going to be hard for him to get on the field. Finally, he got back out of injury, and now
Mm-hmm.
he's getting an opportunity. Not crazy valuable, but one of those RB2 guys that you kind of just pick up, and now you can kind of play them. If you've got that one
Mm-hmm.
workhorse guy, you just need a second guy to play that can give you some RB2, RB3 numbers. Like,
Yep.
should I start Josh Jacobs from Monty this week? Jay Jett is going to be back this week. I'm not sure. I was talking about JJ a little earlier today because the Vikings we're 6-4, one game back. We're in the 7th slot right now. And we have Denver, then we have Chicago, then we have the bye week. Like, we don't have to rush JJ back. Like, we can make sure he's fully healthy without rushing him back. So I don't
Yeah.
know if he's gonna play this week. I don't know if maybe we just take it slow because we're in a pretty good position, with our record.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a possibility maybe that he does sit until after the bye week. I can't say it's not. It's got to be a possibility, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they built themselves a nice little cushion, so I think that
They got
that
to
has kind of
activate him, right? Do they
yeah,
have to activate him?
they have that 21-day window to activate him once he started practicing. So I
Hmm.
believe I got to take a look at it. I believe they did activate that window, that
Hmm.
21-day window. So I would think if he doesn't play this week, he'll definitely play the week after. So I'm pretty sure, like you said, with being able to win games, that affords them that little bit of cushion to make sure. And I saw something that said that, I don't know if you mentioned this, I was fixing my TV, that they're not going to play him till he's 100% healthy.
Yeah,
So
we don't need to.
that's that's really important, and I think that's going to be just beneficial for them in the long run. They've seen that they can go out there and win games. Who do they have this week?
Yeah, Denver this week.
Denver, at Denver. So that's, you would think that's a winnable game. Denver's played better, but I don't think Denver's that great. I think the Vikings should be able to beat Denver at Denver Sunday night. Should be a big game. Definitely excited to see that. So yeah, I guess to answer Pedro's question, Monty or Jacobs. Monty is playing the Bears, so that's a juicy matchup. And Jacobs is playing Miami, which Miami doesn't have the greatest defense in the world. The volume play says play Josh Jacobs here. I think I'll play Josh Jacobs on volume.
Yeah, I probably have to go with Jacobs as well, but it is close. Just it's closer because of the matchups. Like, if Miami obviously jumps out to a lead, then it's not going to be ideal. Not going to be ideal for Jacobs, which you can absolutely make the argument for.
I mean,
And then
listen,
Monty just has
Jacobs.
a better, Monty has a better matchup, and he might get some good, he might get some good work. So
Listen, Josh Jacobs, for all the talk, and I said this before, all his offseason talk, he ran for 116 yards against the Jets on 27 carries, 4.3 a carry, which is pretty solid against that team. So, dude, the dude is getting a ton of work. There's nobody to take the work away from him. It's Josh Jacobs on volume alone, because Monty will probably get 12, like I said, 12 to 15 opportunities. Josh Jacobs, his floor is probably 20 carries. Not a ton in the passing game, but he's going to get at least 20 carries.
That's haven't scored in 13 quarters. Yep. Think about y'all. Cook has shoulder issues. Nothing wrong with his legs. Jet scheme and O-line is problem for Cook running style. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not ideal for Cook. I think he got the surgery to fix the shoulder, so it shouldn't be an issue, but it's always going to be somewhat of a lingering issue because he kind of always stayed away from like the big procedure on it. Different one here. Didn't they fire K Moore because they passed too much in Dallas? They need to pass in Dallas. They've unlocked it. They've fucking unlocked CD. Just throw the man the ball.
I don't think it was a problem that they passed too much. I think Mike McCarthy was just getting scrutinized too. And somebody had to take the fall for the issues there in Dallas, especially in the playoff games and stuff like that. So I think it was just a rift between Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore. Mike McCarthy is a pass first guy anyway. He wants to pretend like he wants to run the football. First of all, Dallas doesn't have the personnel to run the football the way they want to. That's number one. And number two, you have Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson doing work, right? Brandon Cooks exploding. Michael Gallup got into the action. So they've got all the weapons. They should be throwing. It should be a 70% split between throwing and running. 70-30 pass for the Cowboys.
Yeah, they're doing a lot better. I mean, Pollard is just not doing what people thought he would when he's getting the workload.
But he's not
that's what happens when you get the workload. You're not as efficient when you get the workload, when you're not the workload guy. Like, it's just too much. He doesn't look the same. He doesn't look like explosive. And I don't know if that's because of the workload or the injury or maybe both. But he's definitely not the same. Dowdle looked a little good.
He looks spry
too. So yeah, man. Isaac said Stevie drinking that grape Powerade. Yeah, bro. I like grape anything, bro. Grape high C is straight fire. Like, you go to Wendy's, like, get the grape high C. Fucking
orange.
Fire.
High C orange.
No, you can't. Orange is so basic, bro.
No, a high C orange from Wendy's,
basic,
nice and cold,
basic,
ice cold. No, I don't care if it's basic.
We've graduated from fucking orange, bro. We've gone higher than that now. We've got grape, bro. Orange. I mean, that's no, bro.
Orange.
I mean, I'll give you that. That's the OG high C, but
yeah, and it's delicious.
No, man. You guys, you're going grape or orange, y'all. You're going grape or the orange high C. But anyway, yeah, grape Powerade, grape Game Blunts. Got the grape going here. So we. Keenan did blow it up. Keenan did blow it up. I have a dynasty team, this one QB league that absolutely fucking destroyed. I had fucking Joe Burrow, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, TJ Hawkinson, Noah Brown, CeeDee Lamb, And then I had
That's
Baltimore
beautiful.
D, which was awesome too. So I fucking bro, went off. I had Cooks on the bench.
Yeah, but it was hard to play Cooks over, any
Yeah,
of those guys.
yeah.
I had to play Cooks as a desperation play in our subscriber league, and he ended up going off against Bagala. I didn't, what the
Mhm.
crazy part is? I didn't expect to win that week because I was starting Sharbs in my super flex because Jalen Hurts was on a bye. Orange, see, orange,
Come
dude.
on, y'all. Oranges, that's basic. That's like elementary school
No,
Gatorade when
no,
you're playing
no,
football and
no,
basketball in like elementary, bro. We've
no,
gotta
no,
we've gotta go to bigger and better things, guys. I
no.
mean, come on.
Orange high C it is. Never let me down.
I still fuck with the orange, but I mean the grape is straight fire. Mary's got the grape. There we go, Mary. Orange is kitty shit.
Mm. Hey, listen, I love that shit.
Oh shit. Simp in the building. What up, Simp? Glad I played Bijan over Ridley. Yeah, man. I'm glad you did.
Did I make that call? Simp, were you being? I don't remember because we have so many questions throughout the week. Did I actually
No,
make
you
that call,
did. That
Simp?
was that was the one where I said to play Gibbs and Monty, and they both did their thing.
Oh yes,
But the
yes,
Ridley,
yes,
but the Ridley obviously
yes,
cost.
yes, yes.
So
I did say play Bijan.
yeah.
It was definitely a positive development, and the production is fine, like cool. Like, listen, the production is the production, right? But 22 carries is what you want to see. You know what I mean? Not a ton in the passing game. I would like to see maybe 18 carries and maybe 4 or 5 targets in the passing game because I think he is so dynamic. But if you're telling me he's going to get 24 opportunities in a game, I think Arthur Smith is starting to hear the stuff that everybody says it's getting loud there for Bijan, and we're wondering why he's only getting 11 carries, 13 carries. Give the man 20 carries, and he can average 4.5 yards a carry, and he will get in the end zone for you. So, yeah, appreciate that, Simp. It was a tough call, to be honest, because listen, Bijan he hasn't been great, and with that Atlanta offense, it's just been very questionable. It's tough. So I stuck with my guns. I have Bijan in our sub league, and you have to keep the faith with certain guys, but it was definitely a tough call, to be honest with you.
I wanted to keep the faith with Ridley, but fuck him. That
I
offense,
feel you.
fuck him. Trevor Lawrence, fuck him. I mean, come on. Like it's just not happening altogether. And I don't think it's like that Ridley's bad. He's getting
Yeah,
open, like he grades well on reception
something
perception.
just
He's playing outside. He's the more deeper guy. They've got Kirk now, they've got Kirk more in the slot and moving around a little bit. But they, like I've even said, even watching them, like the game they played in London, like it just they
didn't
don't
look
know what
right.
they're
Yeah.
doing
Yep.
offensively. Like they don't
They don't
have a
have an
real
identity. Yeah.
like
Mhm.
identity offensively, and they're kind of just playing, and it's just not something is not clicking, whether it's the play calling or whether maybe Trevor Lawrence is just not that good. Calvin Ridley's maybe just not that good, but I don't know if that is it exactly, because it's like everything is there. It's not clicking. It's not clicking. But I'm
No, I
fucking done.
totally.
I'm done. Ridley can get on my bench for the most part if I've got some better options. So
I feel you on that, and I have Trevor Lawrence in my home redraft league, and I'm looking to sell him. I'd rather play Jordan Love with Patrick Mahomes in my 2 quarterback league, and just trade Trevor Lawrence and try and get another wide receiver in a 2 quarterback league. Like fuck it, I'm out on Trevor Lawrence as well for the rest of this season. It's really tough because I do think that Trevor Lawrence is still a top 15 quarterback dynasty fantasy wise.
oh yeah.
Dynasty, obviously, he's a little bit higher just because he's so young, and we think he's talented and he has the weapons. It's just like you said, there's something doesn't seem right, and we said that a couple of weeks ago as we're starting to watch a lot of these games, and we're just like something just doesn't fit.
And we had
Something
we
just
had the
feels
question.
off.
We had the question: CJ Stroud or fucking Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence,
CJ
yeah, that's
Stroud.
an easy question now. Yeah, it's
CJ.
CJ Stroud at this point.
The real question
Yeah,
is Herbert or Stroud. I think that's the real
I
question.
agree. I
It
agree. I would
is
still
is
lean
Herbert or
Herbert,
Stroud.
but it's a
Yeah,
real question.
yeah. Birdman, y'all know y'all stuff real talk and y'all not phony. That's why I listen in and watch, get that good confirmation too. Yeah, appreciate you, Birdman. You the man.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is like, listen, we have so many questions in a given week that we do our shows. We're not going to be right on every single one. You know what I mean? So as much as I appreciate Simp, there's ones that I was wrong on. I think there was a question: are you playing Kyler or Trevor Lawrence? And I said I think we both said Trevor Lawrence, and he was terrible. So you know, we're not going to hit every single one, but we really try to kind of, like you said, dive deep. We talked about this before. We try to dive deep into it and you know, extrapolate our best projection on what we think guys are going to do. But yeah, it's Trevor Lawrence, man, that was just rough.
Fucking sick of it.
Are you going to go on another Instagram rant about Trevor Lawrence like you did about?
I don't have Trevor. I don't have any shares of Trevor Lawrence, so
like
I'm
that,
not
but
feeling it in the heart as much. But I might do it for Ridley because I'm feeling that one. I'm feeling that one. Rest of season, Bijan or James Cook?
Bijan. I think it's Bijan.
I think that's easily Bijan. Bijan, Monty, CD Gibbs, Dell, Laporta, Kincaid was my team against Keenan, Brian Robinson, Rashard White. Came down to his Allen throwing to my Kincaid to put me over the top.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
I remember this one. I remember this one simp too, where it was like Laporta and Kincaid. I think we both went with Kincaid and said to sit Laporta for somebody else, I think. But if you still wind up getting the win, then fuck it. I mean, at least you listen with Kincaid. So awesome. Good shit.
Yeah, Kincaid's been balling.
That's good stuff. I won on a last minute. I had Zerline fucking get me like 16 points. That was big. I was going up against like Garrett Wilson. I won by 4. And Garrett Wilson almost had the 100 yards to get
that's
the
all
bonus,
that's all the Jets do is kick field goals. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. Lawrence is a good talent, but something is I don't know what it is, but they got to figure something out over there. You know, you think James Cook, Kincaid, Ridley for AJ Brown could happen? Sent that trade to last place team today. Really, Kincaid. Yeah, I mean, send it. I mean, you never know. I don't think it's too much.
I think if Ridley was at least playing like average, that would be a smash. You know, that other person will probably smash it. But since Ridley's just been terrible, that it might be a little bit. Kincaid playing well definitely helps. And James Cook coming off a big game definitely helps as well. So, yeah, if you're going for the gusto and you want to cash some of those chips in, I think this is a pretty good trade.
Picked up Stroud too a few weeks back, traded him for Deontay. The 1 QB. Okay. I mean, Deontay's been solid, obviously, except for last game, but Tua or Burrow?
Burrow's definitely back, but the turnovers in that late in that game were a little concerning. Oh man, this is a tough one. I think it's still Burrow for me, but I can hear the Tua argument. I'm not going to shut it down, but it's still Burrow for me. I think the health of T. Higgins is a big deal, but even without T. Higgins, Joe Burrow went out there and I think he threw for 350. So it's still Burrow for me, but I can hear the Tua argument.
I mean, Tua's got the Raiders, right? And then you've got
Burrow has
Bengals
Cleveland,
versus
I think, right?
no, they got the Ravens. So
and
Miami they play on Thursday. They play the Ravens. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like they might not get to like in the 30s. It could be like a 21, 24 type-ish. But that could be Joe Burrow throwing for 3 touchdowns. So it's like and Burrow's been hot, so
Richard, can you make a trade?
Give me Burrow. Fuck it. Give me Burrow.
I would make a trade, Richard. I know you're probably in a 1 quarterback league, Burrow, but I think you could still get something for Tua in a 1 quarterback league, I believe.
PB Dubs. What's up, PB Dubs?
There he is.
What's cracking, Frank? Frank in the building. I think T-Law been good QB, just not a fantasy QB. He's been okay, but I mean that division, ETN keeps getting TDs and they don't throw the ball downfield. Yeah, that's the problem. Ridley's running downfield. I mean, we ain't getting jack. It's just not happening.
If after 10 games I told you that Trevor Lawrence was QB 18, we'd all be disappointed. And I think that is the, like I want to kind of bottom line it for everybody out there. I think Trevor Lawrence is really good too, but at the end of the day, like you can't play 9 games and only have 9 touchdown passes if you're Trevor Lawrence. That can't happen. And he doesn't have a single rushing touchdown. So that's really concerning. When I'd rather have Josh Dobbs than Trevor Lawrence, that's a problem.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, we're getting into the real playoff push here.
Nitty-gritty.
PP Dub said, "Good luck heading into that playoff push." So, yeah, we are heading into the playoff push. We are.
That's what we do.
We are. But all right, let's get into some Jordan Love, Hammer.
Let's do it.
Let's get into some Jordan Love. Let's answer Chaka real quick. Chaka, it's been a minute. Chaka, what's up, guys? Do you think Achane is a must start if activated?
I'm gonna say yes for a couple of reasons.
Are you gonna miss the 50-point game?
Right, exactly. I'm going to say yes for a couple of reasons. Number one, Jeff Wilson hasn't been very impressive in the games that he's been back. And I think they want to take a little bit of that load off of Raheem Mostert. So, yeah, I do think an Achane is similar to Gibbs in terms of, and even what we talked about with Keaton Mitchell, is that he doesn't need very many opportunities to be a difference maker on a per week basis. So if you're and a lot of people, listen, we're all desperate for running backs, right? We're all desperate for those flex plays as well at this point in the season with the injuries, with the bye weeks, with trying to make a playoff push. So yeah, to answer your question directly, Chaka, yes, I would start Achane in a flex spot if he's activated in a good matchup.
Yeah. I mean, what's your other options too? But yeah, I mean, I would probably be starting Achane. Now, the first game back, is he eased back in a little bit? They do have a pretty good matchup. All those guys are healthy now. So, I don't know. We don't know exactly what to expect, but you're going to be kicking yourself if you miss that big game. So
that's right. That is right.
That's what I'd say about that. That's what I'd say about that. All right. Let's talk Jordan Love. And my little thing on the bottom here, the headline, not feeling the love. What are we doing with Jordan Love right now? I mean, his efficiency is straight garbage. We've talked about the big difference between the first half production and the second half production in games. I mean, he's 6th in red zone pass attempts, so I'm like he's got a ton of opportunities, and it just hasn't been what we wanted out of Jordan Love, out of Christian Watson, out of this offense, out of this team in general. So, what are we feeling about Jordan Love? And then we'll get into kind of, what he costs and are we buying, are we selling? But what are we thinking in general about Jordan Love, especially for Dynasty? I mean, long term, I don't feel like we're secure here. I know he's got one more year on the contract, but that security is not really there, which kind of puts him on that back end of 15 to QB 20, really, almost in Dynasty. So how are we feeling about J Love?
It's mixed. And at this point, I think the fact that I'm still in that TBD thought process with him is a little concerning. I think at this point, I should feel like I know what Jordan Love is and if he's going to be the guy, right? And I've said this virtually since, I want to say after those first 3 games, they were 2-1. And I said, I liked what I've seen. There were some things that were a little concerning, the efficiency. He's only completing 59% of his passes, which is a tick up from what he was earlier in the season. He was hovering in the low 50s. He's climbing up there to the high 50s. The yardage total was impressive last week against Pittsburgh, 289, I believe he had. So you like to see that. He had a couple of really nice touchdown passes. And the thing is that when Jordan Love makes when he makes a really good pass, it looks good, right? It looks like, okay, this is a guy. You know what I mean? He made a beautiful pass to Jaden Reed. He made a beautiful pass to Romeo Dubes for the touchdowns, and you're like, damn, I've seen it, right? There's something there. It's not total trash, but the inconsistency is definitely what concerns me. And the late game interceptions have been an absolute killer for this team. He does not take care of the ball in the fourth quarter when the Packers have chances to win. Now, the Packers haven't really got blown out in a game outside of that Detroit game. I think it was a Thursday night game. That was the game they really just self-destructed and melted down. But outside of that, there's no real game where they didn't have a chance to win. And if I'm putting a positive spin on it, that just means that he can kind of grow and learn into it. He is essentially a rookie if I'm looking at it from an experience perspective. Now, he has been in that building. I've talked about him being in that building with Matt LaFleur over the past 3 years, and this is obviously his first year starting. So I'm still TBD, man. I still need to see the rest of these games get played out and to see if there is a growth in those late game situations, because the Packers have had a chance to win every single game that they've lost outside of the Detroit game on Thursday night. So you see some things you like, you see some things you don't like, and you're just like, can he clean up those late game turnovers and not try to force the ball? I also saw a really troubling stat. If you're a negative Nancy out there, when he's targeting Christian Watson, I believe his interception rate is like highest in the league when a single quarterback targets a single player. And it seems like every time he tries to throw the ball to Christian Watson, it's either A, in double coverage, B, it gets tipped away, or C, it's just a clean interception. I want to see more passes to Christian Watson where it's that pass we saw against the Philadelphia Eagles last year, where it was just a 3-step drop, turn, and fire it in over the middle, something like that. It doesn't have to be vertical every single time. Get a little more creative when you're trying to use Christian Watson, and I think the efficiency could go up. So, like I said, it's tough to say, am I in or out? Because he even provides a safe floor if you're talking fantasy-wise, where he's not going to completely kill you. Like I said, he had the one game where he completely just unraveled and didn't do a whole lot. But outside of that, he's been okay. He's quarterback 13 currently, which is a high-end QB2. So he's still very, very serviceable as a super flex quarterback. The Vegas game, he wasn't great. The Detroit game, he at least gave you some solid production. So it was the Vegas game where he just completely melted down from a statistical standpoint. And they still had a chance to win that game, even with the 3 interceptions that he threw. So
Yeah,
it's been a mixed bag pretty much all season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that because right now they're in the top 10, right?
I think they're 6. Pick 6.
Their pick would be in the top 10. So, if you're in the top 10, I think it's it's a very good chance that possibly they do take a QB there. So I don't know how safe he is for next year. That's kind of my concern. So I think he's absolutely fine for this year. So when we go into, we're buying, selling, holding, like, what's the price for it? I'm just out on Jordan Love. I'll take advantage that right now people know that he's a starter for at least the rest of the season, and people might want to buy him, knowing that he's a starter for the rest of the season. So if I'm able to move him or try and tier up from him, then, I would absolutely try and do that. So I would be on the selling side. I would not be buying Jordan Love, and I don't want to hold him unless I'm in contention and I need, that third QB for this year. So I'd be trying to look to sell Jordan Love if I could. And what's the price? What's the price really that you can sell him at? He's kind of worth like a second round pick right now, early second or a second plus. So if you can come off with the second plus for Jordan Love, then I'm totally fine with doing that and getting off now. Because like I said, if next season they do draft a quarterback, now he's worth nothing. So I'd rather just, take what I can now and take advantage while he's worth something. But what do you think, Hammer? Are we buying, or are you selling? Are you holding? And, at what price? Do you think that was a kind of, a good price suggestion?
I think I'm current. I have Jordan Love, Jordan Love in the subscriber league, and I think I'm holding, and I'm holding for this reason. The Packers organization doesn't have a lot of upheaval and turnover at the important positions, right? Quarterback, head coach, GM, president, etc. They're one of the more stable organizations in the NFL in the last 30 years, basically since they've had Brett Favre. So I'm gonna currently hold, and I do think I'm not. I don't know that they want to, especially if they have the 6th pick, right? Say it ends up in the top 10. Let's just call it that. I think they want to. I think they would be smart to build around, draft a offensive lineman, draft a draft the. I don't want to see them draft defense. They draft defense every single year in the first round. It just drives me nuts. Draft some offensive linemen, okay? Draft maybe a young dynamic running back. They're probably not going to do that in the top 10, but something along those lines in terms of surround him with a solid offensive line, right? I think that is the way to go because, like I said, I've seen some things that I like. And I think, listen, another angle is and I've said this all season, the skill position players are super young. Like we saw Luke Musgrave make plays out there, right? We've seen Jaden Reed make some really good plays. Romeo Dubes he's a red zone monster when it comes to touchdowns. He catches touchdowns in the red zone. So you like that there. Christian Watson is the one that it seems like the odd man out, right? Because Jaden Reed and Romeo Dubes have been pretty solid. And it seems like Christian Watson is the odd man out when it comes to production. Luke Musgrave, like I said, has been pretty solid there. So if I'm the Packers, I use that pick and I draft offensive line to try and surround him with better protection and see if they can take a step forward next year, kind of clean up those late game interceptions and go from there. That's what I would do. Fantasy wise, I don't know. If they take a quarterback, it's over. Like that's the bottom line. If they take a quarterback, it's over. Right. But if they draft an offensive lineman, then, and obviously you want to see the deal get done.
What about the coaching staff though, as well? Does this coaching staff new regime come in next year if we're not doing, if they're not doing well, or do we think that stays the same?
I think it stays the same because, like I said, the Packers kind of remind me of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers have had lean years and they don't just upheave everything. Obviously, Ben Roethlisberger retired and they have Kenny Pickett in there. And I think the Packers and the Steelers are in similar situations. I think the Steelers are way better coached than the Green Bay Packers at this point, but they're in similar situations when you look at the coach, right? He had a Hall of Fame quarterback, won a Super Bowl. They moved on from that Hall of Fame quarterback. They drafted a young quarterback and they surrounded those quarterbacks with some pieces. It's just that the Steelers are winning and the Packers are not right now. That's the only difference. If the Packers were 6-3, this wouldn't even be a conversation.
I mean, you got, like you said, though, you got Dubes, you got Watson, you got Reed, you got Musgrave, like you got Aaron Jones, you got AJ. Like, the fuck else you want?
But they're still,
I know they're still
inexperienced.
Young. I know they're young, and I know
that
they're
matters.
Inexperienced. But I just don't know if we're seeing enough to believe in Jordan Love, for the future. But anyway, you said you want to hold him. I mean, I know you've got him, I think, in the subscriber league. So
I do.
And if you're not competing, are you still holding? Are you still holding and taking that chance, or are you just kind of taking what you can get and regroup? And now you have, a liquid asset in the pick, and you have some, some flexibility in what you can do with that pick. And
this is one of the situations where my fandom comes into it just a little bit. And is part of the reason why I'm holding, because like I said, I do see things that I like, and I look deeper into it in terms of the order, in terms of the organizational structure, and they don't turn over important positions very often like that. And I think they'll invest that top 10 pick in assets to help Jordan Love. Now, would it help if he got a long-term extension? Yeah, I would love that. Is that going to happen anytime soon? Probably not. So that's really what it hinges on, right? Because if they would have extended him, if they would have extended him on a 3-year deal, I don't think we have this question either.
So let me ask you this, strategy wise, because Jordan Love is not that expensive. What if would you be open to selling him now? And then if he is the quarterback next year, you just buy back in at basically the same price?
It depends, to be honest with you.
You know?
Like I said, I'm not open to not moving him. I actually had a conversation with somebody in our subscriber league involving Jordan Love, so it's not like I'm not hearing it. He's not untouchable. I guess that's the best way to put it. If I get something I'm looking for, then yeah, I'd come off of him. If somebody offered me a late first or a high end second plus a little something, plus a wide
You can get a
receiver or
first.
something.
You could get a
I'm just
first maybe
saying.
from a desperate team, like a contending team that loses a quarterback or something like that down the stretch here, maybe.
I mean,
But
listen, if you're telling me that Jordan Love finishes as quarterback 13, I think he'll finish in that range. Like I do. I think he'll finish in
oh,
that 13 range. And I know you're saying long term is what you're kind of looking at.
no, I'm with you fantasy wise. I'm just talking more, in the aspect of like NFL wise, like, kind of like Justin Fields. Like, okay, he's giving you a crazy fantasy production, but in NFL, I mean, they're about to move on from him, possibly, going now he'll get a chance somewhere else, but Jordan Love is not going to have that opportunity to get a chance somewhere else. So
Do we know
I think
that
that's
for
the
sure?
I would think so. I mean, unless
There,
injuries happen and he gets a shot that way, I don't think another team is going to be, going pick him up or trade for him. I don't think.
a team went out there and took Baker Mayfield so that to be their starter. So I don't think people would not take Jordan Love if the Packers drafted a quarterback and said, "Hey, we'll trade Jordan Love." Like somebody will. He was a first round pick. I think he was overpicked, to be honest with you. I think he was more of a
Oh yeah,
second round kind of quarterback. So the Packers definitely overpicked for him. Um, but listen, there's things there that I like, and I think he'll play beyond next year in Green Bay. But I just don't know that for sure. Until I know for sure with the contract, then it's still a question.
yeah. I think just strategically wise, like I'd be fine, especially if you're not winning this year, to move off and then you can always buy back in. I feel like next year at pretty much the same price. Like I don't think his price is going to increase dramatically going into next year. So especially if they don't draft somebody. So just to get rid of it, have something liquid that you can use that for, and then buy back in if you need to. So, all right, let's get back into some of the questions here before we get into the Sun God Birdman. Appreciate you, Birdman, with the super chat. Blessings, brother. We got to get a Birdman sticker for sure on the membership. So we do have the memberships available now. We've got some stickers there that y'all can use, but we are going to add a Birdman one because I like that. Appreciate you, Birdman. You the man. Pedro said, "How about Cup? Is he going to get a comeback?"
Oh yeah, Matthew Stafford's coming back. Cooper Cup, fire his ass up. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Puka, I mean, you can feel comfortable with those guys as long as Stafford is playing, because that guy's a fucking warrior and he's going to play through.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he can grip that ball and throw it, he's going
Yep.
to wind up playing. Caleb, what up, Caleb? Appreciate you, brother. Michael Wilbon, is that you? Love the graphic. Appreciate you, Caleb.
We've
Now,
actually
Caleb,
gotten some really
yeah,
positive feedback about the setup.
yeah, Caleb's killing it over there on his channel. Keep doing your thing, Caleb. Birdman, I'm getting a QB. Yeah, I feel you. Love act like you blind. Yeah, sometimes it's just like, what is going on
Yeah,
here?
he misses some throws, and I'm just like, damn, really, dude, really? But like I said, there's good and bad with him. I definitely need to see another full crack at it next year, and even the rest of this year. Like the season, I don't. The Packers aren't making the playoffs, but there's definitely room for him to grow and put on, and grow from those late game interceptions. And like I said, outside of the Detroit game, the Packers have had a chance to win every single game, and that for me, I have to hold on to that.
Yeah, I think it is your I think it is your fandom. What do you guys think? Is it the fandom or is Jordan Love just unfortunately a trash can?
We're not
What
doing
is it?
that. We're not doing that.
Is that just what it is? Fantasy wise, is that what we have is that the category we have to put we have to put him in? Because he's
He's
right on
not.
that verge of like gotta get rid of him, trash can
He's not
status.
trash can. No, he's not trash can. Would you rather have Jordan Love right now or Justin Fields? And I'm not
Oh,
saying
Justin
that's the
Fields,
bar.
bro. Justin Fields.
Stop it.
What do you mean stop it? He's got the upside. I know he
Yeah,
might
the
not be on the
upside.
Bears next year, but he'll get a chance.
The upside.
Yeah, if I got to choose between the two, for sure. Hell
You
yeah.
just hate
Chaotic in the
the
building. What's up,
Packers.
Chaotic? Appreciate you, Chaotic. Vite Queen in the building. We got the girls in the building tonight. Vite Queen, appreciate you. Yeah, we about to take the North, Vite Queen, for real, because shit got real with Dobbs right now.
Josh Dobbs is the fucking savior. I can't believe it.
He deserves one more year. I mean, they gave him that extra year, so he does have that year, but does he deserve that? If they got a top 10 pick, like, does he really deserve it? I don't know. You know, when you have a chance to draft one of these top QBs, it's hard to pass that up, because you're not always going to be in the top 10 to get one of those guys, in the top 5 to get one of those guys. So it's hard to pass up those guys sometimes. So, but we'll see. Maybe he does get another year, kind of like, like Sam Howell at the least. Everybody loves Sam Howell. Everybody thinks he's the franchise guy. We'll see what happens there.
Their
Jordan
guys
Love
are
in the
so
preseason. Good idea.
their skill guys are so young and inexperienced. Sam Howell's working with pretty good talent. Now I know he's slinging it all over the place, but Sam Howell is working with more experienced talent on that team. I want to see some more growth down that stretch of the season and into early next season, and then I'll really solidify how I feel about Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm. Josh Whedon said Justin Ross, Mechie, Love, the 1-8 and the 2-8, all for Olave. Love it. Love it. That's a good trade.
Really quick on Chris Olave,
Birdman.
bro. Did anybody notice that he had nothing in the first half, and as soon as Jameis Winston came in, Olave's number, he just took off?
We know what Jameis has given us. We know that he's going to throw picks, but we know that he is going to feed some pass catchers. And we love that for Olave, because he's a fucking gunslinger. So I really hope Winston stays the quarterback at least. Hopefully David Carr takes some weeks off, rest up, brother, and just let Jameis fucking sling it around a little bit.
Fuck yeah.
Just let him sling it around a little bit.
Interceptions don't count towards wide receivers, so sling that ball around.
Telling y'all the setup y'all got us. Wicked. Appreciate you, Birdman.
Yeah, we love that.
Took some thought and a bunch of fucking energy to try and make it look really good
fire
over there. Simp said AJ or SunGod rest of season. Damn.
I think I'm gonna go AJ Brown by a hair on my chinny chin.
Yeah,
it's super close, but I'll take AJ Brown by just the smallest of margins. I don't want to be disrespectful to St. Brown, but
he's
just give me AJ Brown.
Yeah, he's been awesome. But yeah, give me AJ Brown as well. I mean, he's got almost 200 more yards, 2 tutties more. And I mean, yeah, they're both on a tear. I love both of those guys. But yeah, give me AJ by a slight hair.
I know how much that hurts you to say that, because that's your boy.
Yeah, St. Brown is my boy. But I mean, come on, we gotta be realistic here. AJ Brown is a monster, and he's killing it right now.
He looks like he's in the zone. Yeah, he looks like he's in the zone.
Yeah. My man CD taking that next step. Really wanted him to take that next step this year. Birdman said Fields too. Yeah, bro. That's what I'm talking about, man. Yeah, he just needed QB education. Yeah, Fields is gotta learn a little bit. Crispy in the building. What's up, Pops? Hello, ladies.
Hey.
Fight Queen. Washington, North Carolina QB just pads. Yeah. But yeah, I've got in some of my where am I at in my dynasties? So I've got 2 that I am not competing in. I think I have got the 101 and the 102 currently. And like the 1 and the 110 currently. 101, 102, and the 110 in one league. So like what's happening there. Another one that I am not competing in. We've got the 101 and the 102 currently. So we're looking good. Then competing. I took a couple losses in a row here, I think, in the subscriber league. I'm still 6-4. It looks like I still should be making the playoffs here. I think I'm in 5th place right now, so
Mm-hmm.
I got a 1-game lead. I'm decent in points, so it looks like I should be okay there. Go to another one I'm tanking in. 0-10. This one is not doesn't go by the record though. This one has like a lottery, which is a little bit different. So like the, picks 1 through 6 are a kind of lottery, which sucks because I'm not guaranteed, the 101.
I
Then
actually don't mind that because that prevents tanking per se, like to a degree.
yeah. I mean, I'm not purposely tanking. My team is trash. Joe Burrow was, sucked in the beginning of the season. Deshaun Watson's been hurt all season, so I've had just like no QBs. Had no QBs. Then we got another one. I'm 8-2 in this one. I'm killing it in this one. We're rolling here. I got one of the top teams. Then we've got our home dynasty league where I am 5-5, but I have like the second most points for. I've just been playing like the worst. My points against is just ridiculous. But I think I'm in 5th place there. I should be making the playoffs there. So, Gucci, 6-4 in another league. I think 4th place in this league. So we're rolling in the dynasties that I'm actually competing in. And the ones I'm not in, where we've collected assets, we have multiple first-round picks in. So we are rolling pretty good. Winston, yeah, Winston.
Mm-hmm.
And I've made a ton of trades. I was actually going to try and look and see how like the transactions that I've made and the trades in some of these leagues and post it so y'all can see kind of how active at least you should be if you're tanking, like, or if you're not competing, you should be making a lot of trades. So Josh said Guyton, Irwin, MVS, or Hardman rest of season. That is ugly. I'm gonna
For me,
say
it's
Guyton
Guyton. Yeah, it's Guyton.
because we
For
don't know
sure.
how long that Palmer's out, right?
He's on IR.
Yeah, he's on
Oh,
IR, but we don't know
that
if he's coming
4-game,
back
yeah. Yeah, it's gotta be
right
Guyton.
away. So
Irwin's very interesting. He did catch a touchdown pass, but I don't think T. Higgins is he's probably gonna miss the Thursday game.
he is
So
missing it. Yeah, he's ruled out already. That's
so
dumb.
I would probably play Irwin this week if you had to, but rest of the season, it's definitely Guyton for me. Just with the Chargers, he's been there for a while. He seems to be that one of those guys kind of just lingering around. Right behind Josh Palmer. When guys get injured, Guyton's out there making some plays.
Mhm. Yeah, he is. So yeah, give me some Guyton. Irwin did score the tutty, but he wasn't really like involved. He didn't get targeted a ton. So MVS, I mean,
No, we're not doing
trash
MVS and we're
can.
not doing Hardman.
Hardman,
No.
trash can. If you're like not startable, I just consider you a trash can.
Yeah, for sure. For
Peoples Jones.
show. No, we're not doing that either.
No. Dolgatar. What up, Dolgatar? Trades I made this year for Dynasty. Justin Fields and Debo for a projected 101. Okay. Travis Kelce, Michael Thomas, Dalvin Cook for JT, Amari, George Kittle.
I think we
JT,
saw.
Amari, George Kittle.
Why do I feel like we saw this from?
Yeah. Because he's told us about
Yeah,
this one. The
we've
Kelce
seen this.
one, I remember that one.
Yep, I
Fields
remember
and
the Kelce
Debo
one.
for the 1-1. Was this super flex or was it the 1 QB? I do still like that either way though. You're getting 101. Give me that. So yeah, I like it. Caddy, what up, Caddy?
Caddy, what up?
Got Diggs, Amari, and a 3rd and a 4th for Olave, T. Higgins, and a 1st. 7-3. Diggs, Amari, a 3rd and 4th for Chris Olave and T. Higgins. Okay, yeah, I like that
And a
too.
1st.
Awesome. So you got Olave, T, and the 1st. That's sick. That's an awesome trade. That's how you move. That's how you move. Y'all prefer Dynasty over Redraft. Never played Dynasty, only this one Redraft league. I absolutely prefer Dynasty over Redraft. I play in way more Dynasties than I do redraft is just a lot more. It's a lot more fun, especially when you're playing, super flex. There's just leagues are a lot more active. There's a lot more trading going on. There's a lot more interaction, and it's just a lot more fun for me, at least. I don't know if you feel the same, Hammer, but
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it, but I will say that I do enjoy the sprint that is redraft, right? Because you can kind of in Dynasty, you like to focus on, the younger players for the most part and up and coming guys and stuff like that. But, if you're in those redraft leagues, then you can take you could take the Keenan Allens, you can take the Stephon, the Devontae Adams, the Stephon Diggs, some of the older guys that you might be a fan of. So I like both. I do prefer Dynasty, but I like having the mix of both. So I'm in 2 Dynasty leagues and 2 redraft leagues. I would imagine by next season, I'll probably be in 17 because Steve yelled at me and told me I need to be in more. Um, but yeah, I prefer Dynasty, but I still enjoy redraft as well. That's the OG.
yeah, I think I'm at 7 or 8 dynasties, and like 2, 3, 4 redrafts, maybe 5. Build my teams from waivers, real talk, draft a core, then have droppable players. I got a squad now. Yeah, that's how I kind of build my dynasty teams that way, where I just don't care about the running back position. Like I've got a bunch of Gus Edwards and Jerome Fords, and that's doing absolutely fine. I got no issues. So I mean, for everybody that says you need running backs, I mean, you don't, as long as the rest of your team is solid all the way around. So, if you've got some hammer wide receivers and quarterbacks, and a good tight end, like you can get away with not having, great running backs because injuries happen and things happen all the time at the running back position. So, I don't care. I'll spend a third on Zach Moss, Jerome Ford, Gus Edwards. I mean, these guys they don't cost much and they're giving you the same production as the Damian Pierce's, Najee Harris's that people spend up for, in the draft.
The thing I noticed about the difference between redraft and dynasty is redraft, you want those hammer running backs. Like those redraft running backs are going to take you the distance for the most part. And I think
They're
they're
shallower, right?
obviously much more valuable in redraft for whatever reason. Um, and they're also, listen, running backs are win now pieces, right? If you have the Christian McCaffreys, the Austin Ecklers, the Josh Jacobs, like those are go for it right now pieces. And obviously in redraft, it's go for it right now. So I think that's kind of the separation between the two.
And typically redraft leagues are a little are shallower than your dynasty leagues. So that's why those running backs, a little bit
Mhm.
more important in redraft. But you can still get away with, if you really do it the right way and get lucky a little bit. So Laporta versus Chicago, Ingram versus Tennessee, or Schultz versus Arizona.
Damn, Caddy, you're carrying 3 tight ends, bro. I think I'm still going Laporta. It would be Laporta, Schultz a close second, and then Ingram third here.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I mean, they're all good matchups. Like, so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just like, okay, somehow you have to pick the right one.
Yeah,
Actually,
I still think I go
Schultz is
Schultz.
close. I know, like,
Yeah,
Laporta's been awesome. I don't think he did much last game, right?
I think he
Yeah, he
had like
kind of
4
did
for
it last
40.
game. I mean, he's been, he cooled down obviously a lot, but he's still been very good. But I mean, with what's his name out, I mean, does that make Schultz like? I mean, I guess they're all kind of the same. Geez. Or do we just go with the targets that Ingram is pretty much getting?
Nah, because Ingram doesn't have that touchdown upside.
Yeah,
At
he
least
does.
Schultz and Laporta
Yeah, I
have
mean,
that. Laporta's playing on a great offense and a good matchup. Obviously, we know what CJ Stroud is doing in obviously what you think would be a good matchup as well against Arizona. So, like I said, I'll still stay with Laporta. Laporta's been my guy since basically we started doing our draft. So I'm gonna stick with Laporta. Like you said, he has cooled off, but I still think he's involved in the offense. I don't think he's going anywhere. And then Schultz is a very, very close second.
mhm. Kev in the building. What up, Kev? Nice setup, boys. Appreciate you, Kevin.
Yes,
Dynasty
sir.
Superflex start 10. ETN or Waddle?
Woo. ETN wasn't great last week. He kind of did me dirty in a game I really needed in redraft. I still think I would go with the wide receiver. We're talking Dynasty Superflex. Still give me Waddle, even though ETN has been fantastic. Still give me Waddle. In a year that Waddle really hasn't broken out. He had the big game against New England, but I still think he has that game-breaking potential. And the dude is still just 24 years old at a position that has a lot more longevity than these running backs. It's still Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I'll take the wide receiver unless, of course, you have a bunch of them and you can afford getting rid of one for ETN. But I will say with the way, like you said, with the way ETN is playing and with the way Waddle kind of has played, you might be able to get Waddle like in a piece, for ETN, depending how bad that team needs ETN.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to get a little piece on top of Waddle. So I'd explore that option, push the envelope a little bit if you're the one that's trading away ETN. So I want ETN if I'm competing like right now this year, like, and you might even feel safe for next year as well, but he is a running back and shit happens and you kind of don't want to, project it out, and have faith in that. So, I don't want my asset stuck really in the running back position until I'm really, in position to win. So,
Yep.
that's what I'd say about that. Yeah, Guyton just did get off of IR. Was his first game back. That is correct. Caddy says start one: Rashard versus San Fran, Walker versus the Rams, or Brees versus Buffalo.
Give me Skywalker here.
Yeah, I'll take Kenny Skywalker. Commercial hit right as you both said. Guyton got the top waiver wire priority confirmed at least. Yeah, I'm picking up Guyton or trying to at least in a few leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is ugly on the waiver. There's not much out there now. So when I played, we had Michael Turner, Gates, Rivers, Drew. Yep.
Ooh, David Boston. That's a name.
Yep.
Birdman. That is a name. David Boston.
That is. Should I trade my third and fourth from 2025? I don't really recommend that. Why would you want to do that? Like, what is it for? I tend not to draft good late. I've gotten steals every year, picking up people on waiver like Amon-Ra, Puka, Kyron, and Ford. Well, it's not necessarily about who you're going to draft there because it's extremely low hit rate, even when you get like into the second round. So it's not necessarily for who you're going to pick there. Those are picks to spend on, like I mentioned before, the Jerome Fords, the Zach Mosses, when you need a running back or you need a wide receiver, the Adam Thielens, maybe before the season, before he started going off, you could have got him for a fourth round pick, a third round pick easily, right? So, it's more for just the flexibility of what you can do with those picks rather than like the player that you're going to pick in those rounds. Like I have a bunch of thirds and fourths in one of my leagues where I'm rebuilding, and I'm not making all of those picks. But at that time, there's going to be players that people like. People are going to want to move up in the draft. People are going to want to move back. Like, so I'm one that, okay, I'll move back in the draft, or, I'll just say, hey, give me a 2025 third or fourth, give me your next year one. So now I'm competing going into the season. I've got extra thirds. I've got extra fourths. I maybe got an extra second. And now I've got, I'm competing. So now I have everything in my back pocket. Like, okay, if I got injuries or things go wrong, I have some draft capital I can spend to go and get some of these guys. If I've got a running back injury, if I've got a wide receiver injury. So that's what's more for those third and fourth round picks, I would say, rather than, thinking of it just as what player are you going to pick there? Because you could have took Puka there, right? You could have took Amon-Ra there, when he was going. So, there are hits that you can get, but it is a low percentage. But yeah, I think it's more strategic wise than just who you're going to take there. Do you have you got anything to add to that, Hammer?
No, not really. And this is actually my first year or second year doing those late of a picks. I think especially in our home dynasty league, we only had 3 picks the first year or two. And I generally, for the most part, made those picks, but it makes perfect sense when you bring up guys like Adam Thielen and Jerome Ford and Zach Moss and stuff like that, because I think that's kind of like you kind of use that as your security blanket during the season when you're desperate for a running back. JT gets injured, you pawn off that 3rd round pick and you get yourself your handcuff or something like that. So it makes perfect sense when you look at it from that perspective, and you just have a security blanket, right? You have some ammunition to go out and move chips around the board. And especially if you're in contention, right? If you're in contention and you trade a 3rd or a 4th for, a piece that's, listen, the way Adam Thielen's played this year, if you traded a 3rd for him, you're delighted with it. Even if he kind of tails off or just, still has middling production from what he's gotten you, it's probably going to be better than any 3rd round pick you make, most likely.
Yep. For sure. Caddy. Dallas defense versus Carolina, Browns versus Pittsburgh. We got to stop with the Dallas. Just play Dallas. We've always said this. It didn't even matter when they played, what was it, the Chiefs or whoever they played, and people are like, should we not play Dallas? Just play them. Just play them. And they wound up scoring a touchdown that week, So just play Dallas. Just don't think about it too much. Like there's no reason to get cute. Like just play them.
I will say this though, in Caddy's defense, that Browns defense,
They are
solid.
I know.
Whooping people.
They are.
So, and they're getting turnovers. They're creating havoc. I know they gave up 30 plus against Lamar, but just play the Browns defense then, right? Just play one defense and go with it. I agree with that. I agree with that perspective. Just play one defense and go with it. Unless you have obviously a bye and then you got to move some chips around, but yeah, just play one defense for the most part, especially if it's an elite defense like a Dallas or a Cleveland. Just play one and roll with it.
Yeah. Jay, what up, Jay? Appreciate you, man. It's good. Stevie
Yes,
the Hammer.
sir. Jay, what's happening?
Josh said, what happened to Deontay being the target monster last week?
That was one of the more surprising
1 week.
developments. Yeah. That was one of the more surprising developments that I noticed this past weekend with Deontay. I think he only caught 1 pass for 17, if I'm not mistaken. I'll bring up the numbers really quick.
Yeah, four targets. But I mean, to be fair, when you look at Kenny Pickett, he only completed 14 passes. He only threw 23. So
they ran it a ton.
I would say just in the defense of that, they weren't really throwing the ball like that.
It was a good game script for them to run the ball a lot, and they were having success running the ball against my Swiss Cheese Packers defense on the ground. So, if you had Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, you're in business. But I would still stand by the Deontay pick. Over the course of the season, guys are going to have games like this, right? Jamar Chase has had a game like this. Stephon Diggs just had a game like this. So, these guys, I'm not saying he's those guys, but these games are going to happen. I think Deontay will still be solid for the rest of the season. Does have a tough matchup against Cleveland, though, coming up.
Yeah. Birdman said that was his squad, so he used to play with them. That's why.
What?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Shit.
Good night,
Good
brother.
shit, Birdman.
Appreciate
yes, sir, man.
Yeah, appreciate you,
you.
Birdman. We'll see you. Come through on Friday. We're back on Friday, 10 Eastern. Friday,
yes,
Saturday. Dole said, "How much you willing to trade for JSN?" I think we
talked about this.
About this a couple weeks ago, but he's at least worth a mid first or is a late first plus. I mean, that's what it's going to be. Maybe you find somebody that's upset with the situation, and maybe you can get him for a second plus. But what would I be willing to trade for him? I mean, it's tough to give up the mid first unless you have you have assets to be able to do that. So. Otherwise, like I'm okay with paying the late first plus, just depends what that plus is. Like what does that guy want? So what does that person need? Do they just need some points? Will they take an older vet? So.
Yeah, I think I'm in that boat too. And we kind of settled into that it would basically start at a mid first. If you give up the mid first, I think we talked about like a 106 or 107, something like that in a 12-man league. Or if you could do a back end one plus something else, depending on what that plus is. And I think we ran off some names. I think we dived into it a little deep. Would you give up a late first and Josh Downs?
Yeah, easy. It's not even a question.
Okay. A late first and Tank Dell.
Yep.
So that's and those
No
I believe
question. You
those
have
are
to
some
go
of the
way. You have to
names.
almost go way higher than that for me.
Okay, a late first and Michael Pittman.
That's a conversation because I do like Pittman. So, unless I have a few first, I'm probably not doing it.
Okay, a late first and Deontay Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that and the reason why we bring these names up is just to kind of give you a gauge on where where that line in the sand is. Steve's line in the sand is Michael Pittman.
No, I mean that's still a conversation, and I probably do still pull the trigger on it. But I do like Michael Pittman a lot more than I thought I would, or I did at least, starting the season. So I give him that.
Would you give up?
Jake,
Would
what's
you
up,
give up a
Jake?
late?
Go
Oh,
ahead.
really quick. Would you give up a late first and like any one of those older guys, like a
Oh, for
Diggs or a
sure.
Cup or Devontae Adams?
No, because you can well, for Devontae Adams, yeah. I mean, Diggs is a conversation because you might be able to, like, I know it might sound crazy, but you might be able to get plus out of it if that person is desperate and they're, really trying to compete. So, but yeah, I think that's probably could be more of a 1-1 situation, but
Okay.
you've got to be obviously not competing. If you're competing, you obviously want Diggs. So Jake said, when JJ comes back, Evans goes to the bench in a super flex. I got Howell and CJ Stroud and St. Brown, other wide receivers. I guess depth is good to have. Yeah, if it's is a dynasty or redraft, Jake, I would say. And I mean, yeah, you've got good depth. That's good to have coming down the stretch here. There's bye weeks and stuff coming up. People get injured, so I just bought Godwin in a dynasty league, one QB dynasty league. I bought Godwin for a late first and Elijah Moore, and we basically swapped thirds, so I don't even count that. But a late first and Elijah Moore, and I bought Chris Godwin. I know Godwin hasn't been great, but I don't necessarily need him. He's almost like my bench guy because that's the team I told you. I got Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins. But T. Higgins is a little banged up right now. Keenan Allen's a little
Mm-hmm.
banged up right now. So I just have a little bit of security, and it's not like a 1-year rental. I know that he's still got some years left. Mike Evans is obviously a free agent next year. He said he's not re-signing if they didn't if they didn't give him the contract. So we'll see what happens going into next year. But he said it's a keeper league. Jake said, yeah. So just hold him for the security. I mean, as long as you don't have like 2 or 3 Mike Evans on your bench, like if you have one, like that's great. If you had 2 or 3, then I would say you got to tier up somewhere. That's like too much depth. But you got anything to add to that, Hammer?
No, I mean, listen, if you have assets, you can always tier up. And we talk especially if you're going for the gusto, right? And I think Mike Evans, you can package Mike Evans with something else and tier up if that's the route you wanted to take. So you're definitely going to have some options. And listen, Mike Evans is still a name guy. He's still going out there catching touchdowns, and he's still going to be productive. So it's not a bad thing to have plus assets.
I actually like Mike Evans now because he's cheaper. So for the contending teams, and we talked about Mike Evans last year, 2 years ago, how to kind of move off him if you can, try and get like a young stud asset if you could. And now we're at the point where that value is kind of diminished, and we're going to talk about him more in a minute, but he's a buy for these teams now. But let's talk about the SunGod real quick, and then we'll get into Evans. Garrett versus Buffalo, Devontae versus Miami.
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, gotta go Devontae because they're killing it. Josh Allen, what's up, Rob? Josh Allen, CMC, Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Lamb, Laporta, Achane with Olave, Jones, Kyler, and Puka on the bench. Jeez. Tried trading Kyler and Aaron for AJ Brown, but not biting any upgrades. You got Olave, Aaron Jones, Kyler, and Puka on the bench. So yeah, you've got a bunch to play with there. Send out any combination of those guys. I mean, don't trade Amon-Ra with Lamb or Laporta. But yeah, any combination of those guys to maybe try and tier up.
Yeah, if the conversation at least try and sweeten the pot a little bit. You might have to come off for Puka. You might. And I think I would do it.
Actually, I wouldn't even do that really. I would just play Amon-Ra, Lamb, and Puka pretty much every week, I think.
If they said give me Kyler and Puka and you get AJ Brown, you're not doing that?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I do that. If I'm getting AJ Brown, yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, okay. All for that. See what happens. Let us know, Rob. What do you think? Lamar for Derrick Henry. He's got Sam Howell on the bench.
I think I'm okay with that.
Okay with that if you need a running back.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that as well.
Henry hasn't been, great, but
he fills a role.
SunGod's a beast, playing sick in the last matchup. He said he felt like shit. Yeah, he's a warrior. He's a beast. I love St. Brown. So yeah. Let's talk about the SunGod. Let's talk about St. Brown in Dynasty. He's got to be a locked-in top 5 Dynasty wide receiver at this point. No, I mean, we'll talk about the guys that are up there, but burst onto the scene. Wasn't great the first half of that season in his rookie year. They changed offensive coordinators, and he started getting a ton of looks. They had some injuries with Hawkinson down. They had Swift down. So he really got a chance, and he kind of went off that second half of that rookie season. Then going into the next year, a lot of people still doubted him. And right away just started proving everybody wrong. And he's kind of worked his way up to, he's a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy. He's got to be a top 5, I would think, Dynasty locked in top 5 wide receiver, right? We've got JJ, we've got Chase, we've got CD, AJ Brown, however you want to mix and match that. And then you've got, I think St. Brown is the next guy there. And I think you can make an argument, for all 3 of those guys almost. Might have to put CD ahead because AJ Brown and CD, I think you could flip flop. So I think that Amon-Ra fits into that slot after them. So what are you thinking about SunGod here? Is he locked in top 5? Where do you have him? And how are you rolling? Can you officially now call him the SunGod? Like, are we at that point where you can just admit he's the SunGod?
I'm looking at the thing right now, and it says Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't see SunGod anywhere. I don't see that anywhere. So until Sleeper changes it, I'm sticking to my guns.
Fucking guy.
Yeah, I think. Listen, we know he's awesome. There's obviously no more denying that as well. And just a really quick side note, I have Amon-Ra's profile here. And I'm looking at his transaction history in our home dynasty league, and he was traded to a team and then dropped on September 7th, 2021 by one of our league mates. Then he was added on September 8th, the very next day, by one Stevie B. Mm-hmm. Then he was dropped by Stevie B on November 23rd and subsequently picked up again a week later. And
I didn't have a roster spot. He wasn't playing well. I knew nobody was going to pick him up. And then so I picked him back up.
And then there's no more transaction history for about 2 years with that guy. So
and there won't ever be again.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Now, the one thing that I'm looking at here in his game log and his history log, right? And listen, I'm nitpicking when I say what I'm about to say. For him to vault into that elite category when we talk about Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CD Lamb, AJ Brown, I'm going to need a higher touchdown percentage. His touchdown percentage is not great. Now, he's still finishing. Obviously, he finished 7th in full PPR last year, currently 7th in full PPR this year. So obviously he's a top guy. We know that for sure. But I think if he truly wants to vault into that solidify top 5 and compete with the JJs, the Chases, the AJ Browns, his touchdown percentage, I want to see a little bit more in the touchdown department. Everything else, there's literally nothing else to say about St. Brown. The guy's phenomenal. He's working with a really good quarterback in Jared Goff, who's nice and steady. He's going to get him the ball. And I think the structure of that offense fits perfectly with the other pieces that they have around him, right? He's in a really good, stable situation, which you love. Drafting Sam Laporta, obviously sending TJ Hawkinson out the door and drafting Sam Laporta. It's like, boom, they just reset the clock on the tight end position. Laporta fits right in as well. So, and then they have JMO on the other side. So he's in a perfect offense for what he does. He's going to get a massive amount of targets. He had 146 targets last year. He's pretty much on pace for that same target share this year, give or take, if he misses a game or so. The yard per target have increased each year. The yards per catch have increased each year, but the touchdown is relatively mediocre for a guy that we consider top 5. 5 touchdowns his rookie year, every game played. 6 touchdowns last year, kind of that sophomore breakout. And he's got 4 touchdowns this year in 8 games played, which is a pretty good percentage, right? If he plays, 16 games and catches 8 touchdowns, I feel comfortable with that. So I want to see him between 8 and 10 touchdowns to really solidify that top 5 status.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, just taking a look at some of the stats, right? I mean, target share 8th, target rate 4th. You look at the receiving yards, 7th in receiving yards. I mean, 9th in receptions, 11th in yards after catch, 6th in fantasy points per game. Look at the contested catch rate, 4th in contested catch rate, 73.3%. He's 1st in win rate versus man, third in route win rate altogether. So, I mean, he's an absolute monster. So you wouldn't have him. I mean, we talked about those 4 guys, right? I mean, who would be 5th then? Is the SunGod that number 5? I think he has to be that number over the SunGod at that number 5 spot right now. Like, who do you have at that 5 spot?
There's no specific names that come to mind. And obviously they would be the fact that if we're strictly talking dynasty, then yeah, of course you have to put that in there, and like Tyreek Hill, obviously older. Stephon Diggs, obviously older.
Dynasty, yeah, dynasty.
You know what I'm saying? So from that standpoint, those are really the 4 guys. And then, the Garrett Wilson, you want to have him in there if he played with a better quarterback. I think that would be a legitimate conversation if Garrett Wilson was playing with a steady quarterback. But so that's the only guy that I could really kind of move in there. You're not really taking T. Higgins. You're not really doing that. So yeah. So with all those factors considered, he's got to slide into that 5 spot. It's really hard for me to argue anybody else.
Super chat from Dogatar. Got you, Dogatar. Start 9, 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 3 flex. QB, Lamar Young, Arby's, Monty, JT Ford, Williams. Wide receivers, Amon-Ra, Puka, Olave, Higgins, Rice, Godwin, Wilson, Douglas. Tight end, Kittle, Komet. 3 firsts, 1-1, 1-5, and then 1-9. And second, 2-9. What trades to do? So what's your situation, Dogatar? Are you competing right now? Are you not competing? So first, let me know that information, and then we can kind of go from there on, what's some advice on what we can do here.
Lamar, Bryce Young, Monty, JT Ford, Williams, Amon-Ra, Puka, Olave, Higgins. You got some good pieces here. I like the wide receivers a lot. I guess we'll just break down the team a little bit.
Yeah.
And see what you're looking at until we get a little bit more context.
1 QB, start 9.
Can you trust Olave? I mean,
yeah, I think Amon-Ra, Olave, Higgins, Puka. I mean, those are pretty much your guy, and you have Godwin there as well. Like, you're almost absolutely fine there. Unless you can try and tier up to like a CD, a JJ, an AJ Brown. Like, unless you're trying to make a move like that, which you can make, like, especially with you have the 1-5, you have the 1-9.
You have all the capital. Yeah.
So, and it's a 1 QB. So, like, I'm okay with trying to tier up, basically. I mean, I wouldn't even stay still. So you're 7-3. Okay. So second right now, highest score.
So he's going, he wants to take people out. He wants to just slaughter people at this point, right? He wants to just go for the super gusto.
I mean, it's rough because CD just went fucking off, and you probably could have almost got him like a few weeks ago. So who can we go for? He's already got Amon-Ra.
I don't think you're
Olave,
getting those
Higgins.
top.
Higgins has been a little banged up.
I don't
Can
think you're
we?
getting any other top 4 guys. Like, would you go for the gusto and go get Cheetah?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do we want to just throw a veteran in here? We have like enough young
Diggs,
guys. We
yeah,
have enough young
Diggs.
guys where we can maybe go after like a Diggs or a Cheetah. Somebody that might want one of these younger guys. And I'm totally okay with that because you still got Godwin over there too. You've got Rice, who somebody might want. Somebody's gonna want Rice. Is that Garrett Wilson too? Did I miss that? Godwin and Garrett Wilson?
Yeah, you would just be stacking if you had those guys. Would you upgrade at tight end, or would you sit with Kittle?
I'm
Or it
not.
doesn't really matter.
I'm not going crazy to upgrade at tight end. I mean, if we can move, Godwin, I would say could be movable, but I mean, he hasn't done much, so it might be hard to move him. But Rice, I'd be okay with moving Puka.
Higgins.
Would the would maybe a Puka, Rice, Godwin. I'd move any of those guys with either the 1.5 or the 1.9. Like I'd move any of that if you could to try and upgrade at wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree, and I think
It's fine to get one of the veteran guys because you're still gonna have a young Amon-Ra, you still got a young Olave, you still got a young Higgins. So like you still have the core young there. So it's okay to go out and get, an older guy.
Puka in the 1.9 for Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know if it'll cost a 1.5. It'll probably
Pu-
cost a 1.9 because I mean he's still producing as well because he's still got Stafford there. So I would knock on the door, see what it's gonna cost.
yeah, I
Some of
think I
these
like
teams on
that.
the bottom, any veterans that they have, maybe you can pry one of these top veterans away with some of the young talent and some of the picks you have. I wouldn't give away the 1-1. I mean, you could hold that for Marvin Harrison if you want,
Yeah, and then just
or of
reload.
course you
Yeah,
can move it if you want. But at least you then pick up a young guy that you don't have to rely on right away, and you can kind of wait for that that production that we're hoping for out of him. So
yeah, I think that's the best route. Dull is to would you move Higgins if somebody said Higgins in the 1.9 for Diggs?
yeah, I'm okay with doing that too because you still have other pieces. So I don't really want to give up Higgins if I don't have to, and he's injured as well, so I don't know how many people might actually want him right now. But
Yeah, I think Stephon Diggs would be the target. It also depends on, the rest of the league. We bring this up all the time. What are some of
not
the,
Garrett
you got to
Wilson. What
look for
Wilson?
Michael
What
Wilson,
Wilson is
maybe
it?
from Arizona.
Oh, maybe Michael Wilson. My bad. Okay, Michael Wilson. So you got Godwin. So
Yeah.
you still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you still have 5 solid wide receivers, and they all fit in the flex. So you could keep it how it is right now and just roll into it. But if you can upgrade, that's fine. Because one QB, I mean, after like the 103, 104, it's kind of like
Muddy. Yeah.
you're not in love with that. So like, give away the 1.5, give away the 1.9 if you could, give away the seconds. But just try and upgrade those wide receivers to beef up, to beef it up. You've got JT, you got Monty, you got Ford. You're fine at running back, so I'm not going to make any moves there. And then you've got Lamar and Young. Just hope Lamar stays healthy and you're fine. So I think
Yeah,
that's
I think
kind of what I'd be
there's
doing.
there's plenty of ammunition to go out and kind of do what you want. And I
Oh,
know
he
some
just
of the
traded Diggs. Oh,
oh, what did you
yeah. Maybe
what was
maybe
the
you
Diggs
could get him
trade?
back. What did you trade Diggs for?
I'm curious to see what he gave up, what he got for Diggs.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Sib said, "What are your thoughts on Waddle, Cook, Ridley for SunGod and Pollard?"
Waddle, Cook, Ridley.
Waddle, Cook, Ridley, SunGod, and Pollard.
think I might
Waddle
do
go
that.
further. Yeah. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. Give me SunGod and Pollard for sure. Give me SunGod and Pollard. Three worst teams don't trade. Okay. Trade Mostert and Dell for Josh Jacobs.
Ooh,
If you need a running, well, I mean, Mostert's been pretty
that's
good,
tough.
but
I don't think I'm doing that.
that's a tough one.
I don't think I'm doing
I'm
that.
okay with it. You probably don't need Dell. He's probably on your bench where you probably don't have room to play him. I would guess that would be the scenario if you're trying to make this move and you just feel more comfortable with Jacobs than you do Mostert, and Dell is just kind of expendable for you. Like that's the way I would look at it if you're looking to make this trade. Right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have Jacobs than Mostert, but Dell is interesting. Dell is a playable flex piece at this point for me, anyway.
yeah. Someone wanted Lamar in the first for Hurts. I sent the trade. He never accepted. Send it again. Send it with Lamar the first and send the second on top of it, bro. If we can upgrade to Hurts, I mean, now you're really upgrading. Send Lamar, send the 1-9, and send the second round pick.
Taking the whole ship down.
Yes, we
Love
are
it.
because it's one QB. We have to
Yeah,
overspend a
you
little
got to
bit.
get that guy. Yeah, you got
And
to
we
get that
want the
guy.
advantage. We want that advantage at the QB position. He's already got some good wide receivers. So
And Hurts gives
and
you
you
the
still
rushing upside.
have another first to play with. So still got another first to play with. Diggs, Amari, and a third and fourth for Olave, Higgins, and a first. Okay.
Oh, right. He
I
did
like
mention
it.
that
All right. So
before.
yeah, can you get Diggs back? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think T Higgins is going to come back. Now he's been getting hurt. He's been in and out of the lineup. So if I could get Diggs back, I'd be okay with that.
yeah. Yeah, that's what we'd be looking at. Appreciate you, Del Guitar. Appreciate the super chat. All right. Let's get back into the Sun God here. Are we buying? Are we selling? Are we holding? What is the price? I'll let you take this one first. What are we doing? And what do you think the price tag is, whether we're buying or selling?
I mean, listen, I don't think anybody in their right mind, unless they're in dead last place, would be selling. Just because he's one of those foundational pieces that we talk about. And even for me, especially in our subscriber league, I'm in 10th out of 12, I believe. And I'm not selling foundational pieces. I'm not doing that because I still need somewhere to start. And Amon-Ra is one of those foundational pieces that you want on your team, even if you're at the bottom somewhere. So I'm not selling him under very many circumstances. Now, somebody blows me away with 3 first-round picks, then all right, now maybe we're talking. But yeah, I think he's going for 2 firsts at this point, right? Is that the starting offer?
I think you got
A
to
high
start at
first
like
plus?
two first pluses. It's got to probably start with it, or if you're talking like a mid first, then obviously it's a conversation. But if it's just like a random first or a late first, it's got to be at least 2 to just get the conversation started. At least at least for me. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, you're not selling unless your team is absolute trash and you need to split him into into multiple assets, but he's definitely 2+ first. For sure. You could argue he's in the 3 first range, up there with, those AJ Brown, CD Lamb kind of guys. So I think that sometimes when guys are valued that high, like it's a great opportunity to sell, right? We talked about, I've talked about in the offseason, right? Christian Watson, George Pickens, where the hype is there, like they're valued really high. Take advantage, tier up, if you can. But this is not a situation where those guys are in. We know the quarterback situation. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't give Jared Goff a contract. I think that would be, absolutely nuts. So I think you're safe with St. Brown. I think you can, bank on the future. You can bank on future production. So Yeah, I mean, I think he's up there as far as, his value and his price at the moment. So it's going to be very hard to buy. I mean, if you can buy him for 2 first plus, if you have the assets, then yeah, I'm going to try and at least inquire, see what the price is, but
Would you do, especially in super flex leagues,
mhm.
are you giving up quarterbacks for St. Brown?
It depends if I have if I
Are you
have a
giving
few
up
quarterbacks, if I have the assets. I mean, who are we talking?
are you giving up Trevor Lawrence and a first for St. Brown?
Am I giving up Trevor Lawrence and a first? I mean, no. I mean, no, I'm not going to give up Trevor
Like
Lawrence
a
and
back
a
end
first.
one. Like a
Yeah,
back end one.
I would.
Like a
You would probably
110.
have to. You'd probably have to pay that to get Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the St. Brown is probably going to be going in that second round. Like after the CDs, AJ Browns, right? He's that next guy. I mean, he was already kind of back end second round pick to begin with. Now he's probably a mid second round pick, a high second round pick right now in Superflex Dynasty draft. So that's what I think he's up there. The quarterback is always going to kind of be more valuable. For me, I'd probably say it's kind of almost even between T Law and Amon-Ra St. Brown right now. Maybe slight edge to the QB, but that's also going to depend on the format as well. But
Yeah, I'm just trying to gauge, like, say you don't have 2 first round picks, right? Say you don't have 2 first round picks, but you have 3 quarterbacks, right? Say you have Mahomes, say you have CJ Stroud, and say you have Trevor Lawrence, right? Just hypothetically.
yeah, I'll move Trevor for St. Brown. It's probably more of a straight up kind of thing, or I tax just because it's the QB. You need the QB, so you're giving me St. Brown plus. It's definitely not going to be the other way around. So yeah, give me give me St. Brown plus for the QB for sure. He's up there. I have him on a few of my dynasty teams, and there's not many situations where I'm getting rid of him. It has to blow me away. I mean, he's not a guy that stays getting injured. He's a guy that's consistently producing and giving you fantasy points every single week. He's a young asset. He's also a producing asset. He's a rebuilding asset. He's a contending asset. He's just the SunGod. So
That's funny.
so yeah.
I ain't
5
mad at it.
right after CD and AJ Brown. It's the SunGod. And I don't think anybody can change my mind right now.
Can't be mad at it. Who are some of
Yeah.
the guys right after Amon-Ra?
Some of the guys after Amon-Ra would be like the Garrett Wilsons, would be like the Jalen Waddles, Olaves. I mean, you could argue Tyreek Hill because he's just an absolute monster.
So damn good.
You can argue, at least if we're looking at keep trade cut, he is actually wide receiver 5 on keep trade cut. Then it's Cheetah, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, Addison, Puka, Diggs, Devonta, Ayuk, JSN, T. Higgins, DK, Zay Flowers, Tank Dell, Drake London. That's a top 20. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I think
Can
that's where he
you put
is.
Cheetah over him? I mean, it's 5 years or 6 years difference in age.
That would be tough, but I think that just shows you how goddamn good Cheetah is. Just as a quick aside, is that we're
It's
having that
actually only about
conversation.
it's about a 3-point difference in points per game, 25.1 to 21.6.
But on a per week basis, Cheetah has that
Like
40
3.5
point,
points, but
50
you get the
point
extra years.
potential. Yeah, I
For sure,
understand that.
for sure, for
Like
sure.
I just listen, Amon-Ra's floor is so high, it's ridiculous, but Cheetah's ceiling is probably the highest in the league when you're talking about wide receivers. So just throwing some things out there to kind of
Yeah,
consider.
I feel it. I feel it. Getting tired of Lamar. Do you trade Ingram and Ridley for Tua or giving up too much? In redraft? No, that's fine. Give that up. Give me Tua.
Ingram and Ridley? Fuck yeah, dude. Smash that right now. 8 to 10.
For sure. Appreciate you, Dol Guitar. No problem, brother. Appreciate the super chat again, man. Simp is Tank, Waddle, and James Cook fair trade for Pollard and SunGod.
I think we said we would. Oh, to Waddle. I think he included Waddle, right? There was somebody different.
Tank, Waddle, and Cook. I'll still take Pollard and SunGod.
Waddle, Cook, and Ridley. Oh, I think his previous question was Waddle, Cook, and Ridley. So now it's Waddle, Cook, and Tank Dell.
It's fine. Take it. Take it.
Yeah, I kind of.
SunGod.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got to go out and get those hammers like you talked about. Pun intended, by the way.
Let's do it. AS, what's up? 12 team PPR, 1 QB, 1 tight end, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Starting Lamar Jackson, Ramondre, James Cook, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Swift, Andrews. Bench, Deshaun Watson, Judy, Jalen Warren, Freiermuth, Michael Thomas, and Algier. Who should I trade for? Cook and Swift for Eckler?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Go get it.
That's nice.
A nice trade. Yeah. You roll with Eckler and Ramondre. You got Jalen Warren. I mean, you could even play in there too.
You can play Warren. Yes, you can. I think I'd play Warren over Ramondre, but
yeah,
Najee Harris looks like he's found some footing in that running game as well. So, but I think both of those guys, especially the way the Steelers want to play offense, they want to control that clock and make it a 20 to 17 kind of game most weeks. And Warren has really good receiving capabilities. So yeah, I'm going to get Eckler. And listen, if you have Eckler, he's going to give you that receiving work out of the running back spot. So yep.
Yeah, for sure. Jose, what's up, brother? Appreciate you tuning in, man. Who should I trade for? Cook. Oh yeah, we did that one. My bad. Warren or Cook? I mean, Cook's on the better offense. Warren is giving you good production, but
yeah, that's a tough one. I know James Cook just had a really good game, but he looked like he was a little shaky with the ball yesterday. That was a little concerning. He had that fumble early on, kind of took a seat for a while, and then came back out. And listen, when he had that big run, he fumbled the ball right back to himself. Imagine that ball goes back into the Broncos' hands. What a disaster that would have been. So, little shaky there for Cook, but he had a hell of a game. So that's a tough one. Cook is in the better offense, so I would lean that way. But Latavius Murray getting burned, meaningful burn in that backfield. So if James Cook fucks up, Latavius Murray's right there on his heels to get that work, especially that goal line work. But yeah, I'd rather have Cook just on the better offense, but
yeah, give me Cook. Give me Cook as well. But Warren is close. I mean, they apparently announced him as a starter, so that was like a whole big thing. I mean, Najee still had one more carry, and they still used him kind of the same way anyway.
Yep.
I mean, Najee's kind of the main first and second down guy, and then Warren's coming in. Maybe he's getting a little bit more carries, but Najee, I think you can still count on for like 15-ish carries in the right game script, of course. But if it's the wrong game script, Warren is the guy that's going to score more points. Jose said, would you trade Tyreek for Hall, either Cup or Evans?
So he would trade Cheetah and get Breece Hall and Cooper Kupp or Mike Evans. Okay.
RBs are Henry, White, and Walker, or go for another running back. I don't know if we need necessarily a running back, do we?
Derrick Henry, Rashad White, and Kenneth Walker. Yeah, I don't.
I mean, I think
I think I'm keeping Tyreek Hill. I'm not splitting him. Breece Hall's not playing very well. Yeah. And Cooper Kupp, Cooper Kupp and Mike Evans are really good, but they're not Tyreek Hill. And especially if your running backs are Henry, White, and Walker, I think you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I think I'm just keeping Cheetah here. Yeah, he does, but I mean, when you look at it, I mean, James Cook is what, RB what on the season?
James Cook is, let's see, he's RB 17.
RB 17 on the season, and he's only got what, 2 touchdowns? I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, he's giving you solid RB2 production. Like if you,
Yep.
I've been saying since the beginning of the season, just play him every week. Like he's gonna have ups, he's gonna have downs. That's fine, but he's gonna give you at least solid running back production. To where again,
Mm-hmm.
if you're strong at other positions, you can ride that out. Like RB 17, that's not bad at all. I'll take that as and my RB2 slot, right?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
So
And also too, Josh Allen is siphoning off a ton of these. Josh Allen has 7 rushing touchdowns, I believe, this season. So that's another factor just to keep in mind.
I mean, James Cook's got 600 rushing yards. I mean, he hasn't been that bad. He hasn't been as good as kinda I think people have hoped for, or he hasn't been,
The
involved in the
breakout,
receiving
yeah.
game as much as people hoped for, but that's because, like you said, Josh Allen takes off, he runs instead of throwing it instead of throwing it underneath to these guys, so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I'm okay with him. Alright, let's talk about Mike Evans, Dynasty, Contender Gold. We know that in the off season, when we talk about these pockets of times to trade for certain guys, and we know in the off season people hate older wide receivers going into the off season, going into the rookie drafts, going into the regular season. People just hate these older running backs, and they are as cheap as you can find at that particular time because everybody loves these young wide receivers, and we push them up dynasty rankings, and these older wide receivers kind of get forgotten about. And Mike Evans has just been that absolute gold so far this year for any contenders that went out there and had him, on their team or went out there and bought him. I mean, even now on a non-contending team, if you're looking to get rid of Mike Evans, you're probably getting a second plus or multiple seconds. It's going to be very difficult to get a first, even a late first, at this point. There might be somebody out there that will give it to you, but in,
Mm-hmm.
more competitive leagues, like you're not going to get that first. So you kind of got to take that second or multiple seconds, that second plus. But yeah, Mike Evans has been awesome as he normally is. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit earlier. He is not going to be re-signing with him next year. He said if he didn't get the contract this year, so where is he going to wind up going next year? Hopefully, he goes to a contending team, a situation where he can still produce. So, yeah, in Dynasty, he's been absolute gold for those contending teams, especially if you got him cheap. So, what do you think about Mike Evans and, his dynasty value right now, what he can do for you, add on to anything I mentioned there?
So what's really interesting about Mike Evans, and I know there was a ton of the talk where, oh, Tom Brady's not going to be there anymore, but we've seen Mike Evans without Tom Brady. He was damn good without Tom Brady. So the projected drop off for Mike Evans. Now, I think the concern was more about who they replaced Tom Brady with, Baker Mayfield. But to Baker Mayfield's credit, he's played pretty well with 2 good wide receivers. Obviously, you have Godwin on the opposite side, and then Rashad White has been really good as well. So that offense hasn't been a dumpster fire that we thought it might be without Tom Brady. But just to hone in on Mike Evans a little bit, man, the guy is still wide receiver 9 in half PPR, wide receiver 12 in full PPR. He's still a wide receiver 1. He's still a wide receiver 1, which is absolutely crazy. So 6 touchdowns in 9 games, right? He's that touchdown clip, and that's kind of what I talked about with Amon-Ra. And I think what would separate Amon-Ra from the rest of that pack that's a little bit behind him and vault him into that pack is that touchdown percentage, right? Mike Evans has a touchdown in 66% of his games this season. That's a fantastic clip. And the value for a 30-year-old wide receiver, he's probably going to finish with 10 touchdowns in his next 7 games. So 10 touchdowns in 17 games. That's phenomenal. So yeah, so if you can go out there and give up a second plus, that's why wouldn't you do that if you're in fourth place, right? In your league, and your third wide receiver is Christian Watson, right? Why wouldn't you go get Mike Evans?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, I mean, I think it's definitely dependent on the situation. He's not a young enough player where I guess you can definitely say, you know, well, you're buying, selling, or holding on him. You situation dependent. You got to be selling if, or you should have sold him already if you're not contending and have him off the squad. And, you know, you should be buying if you are a contender. So I think that's exactly the price. Multiple seconds or a second plus should get the job done to get Mike Evans. Just see what else that guy has on his team, or girl, and you know, see see what you can get from off that non-contending team or even a competing team. Maybe they don't need Mike Evans. Maybe they, you know, maybe there's something else that you can do. So yeah, I think awesome in contending in situations and exciting still, even for like the next year or the year after, almost as well, because of you know
He has some staying power, yeah.
because of where he can go. So, you know, I think he's, you know, a little bit more than just this year, but yeah, you know, getting up there in age. So see what you can do. Yeah, I think that is pretty much it for what we were getting into dynasty wise for tonight. We'll see what we'll do what we're doing next week. See what ideas we come up with. But yeah, appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight. You know, throw any last questions or anything you guys got in the chat. We will get to answering those before we hop up out of here. But yeah, appreciate everybody that came out. Appreciate the super chats, Birdman, Dull Guitar. Shout out to you guys for the super chats. Appreciate y'all.
I think
And
we had
everybody else
one
out
more
there.
from AS, I believe.
What super chat? I don't
No,
think
one more
so.
question from AS.
Oh, one more question. My bad, AS. Did I miss it? Where is it at? Oh, I got
The
you.
last question.
Think the new coordinator, they'll get him the ball more. Who were we
Brees Hall,
talking
I
about?
believe.
Oh, we were talking about Brees.
I think that's what AS meant with Brees Hall. I'm not sure. Oh no,
No,
James Cook in Buffalo.
yeah.
Tough.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
That's a tough one because historically we've talked about this, you know, at a decent clip where Buffalo just doesn't throw to their running backs.
Yeah.
Like they
Josh
don't
Allen
throw to
just
their
takes
running
off.
backs, and Josh Allen runs. So that'll be tough. Listen, if he's going to give you at the end of the season, if he finishes anywhere between 15 and 20, that should be solid, right? Like you said, you're getting RB2 production.
And I think, you know, coming out, like that was the exciting part about James Cook is that he can catch the football as well. He
Mm-hmm.
be involved in the pass game. That's what kind of they were looking for, but they just don't play that way where that
Yep.
role is just not it's not what we wanted or expected. Cause that's really the only thing missing. Like he's getting enough rushing attempts. He's just not getting the receiving work that we've thought that he was gonna be getting coming in. So
And also too, I truly believe this. I think the emergence of Dalton Kincaid kind of
mhm.
caps the ceiling of a James Cook because now they have that underneath guy that security blanket. And it's good if you're a Dalton Kincaid owner because you're like, damn, this guy's just going to get, you know, his steady 6-7 targets a game, 8 targets. He's going to get the end zone looks as we've seen over the last 3 weeks. So I think Dalton Kincaid's emergence is going to kind of cap James Cook's ceiling a little bit.
Feel that. Love Joe Brady. Last time he was in OC in the NFLs for Carolina. They had a big Mike Davis year.
That's another name drop. Mike Davis. He's like a bowling
Well,
ball out there.
remember when they had the two-headed backfield, the D'Angelo Williams and
Oh,
fuck what's his name?
yes. I know exactly who you're talking about. The name is slipping my mind. I remember
D'Angelo
D'Angelo Williams.
Williams and somebody throw it out there in the chat. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't get it.
And both of those guys were just running wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember that. Fuck, that's gonna bug me now until I get that name.
Somebody
Bogey's gonna throw it in there. He's a savant. He's gonna know exactly who we're talking about.
Fucking Ron Rivera shit.
Jonathan Stewart.
There you go. Jonathan Stewart. I knew Bogey would know that.
Yep. I knew he
Great
would
show
know
tonight, fellas. Appreciate you, Bogey. Thank y'all for the advice. Gonna trade for Diggs, Brown, or Hurts. Yeah, man. If you can get Hurts, like you've got the assets, you've got the first to do it. You know, if it's not the top 4 first, like I'm okay with trading the 1.5 or the 1.9 if you absolutely have to. But I'd keep the 1.1 if you could. Keep the 1.1 if you could. Bogey, I'm gonna send you the link if you want to hop in after. We'll talk backstage. But yeah, appreciate everybody for coming out. We will see y'all next Tuesday on both channels, and on our channel we'll be on Friday night, Saturday night, 10 Eastern, and we'll be on Sunday morning for about an hour and a half as well. So
yeah, buddy.
Yep. But yeah, appreciate y'all, and we out.
You ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Show me the money.
Oh, you didn't know?
Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling.
Put my shoes on, you wouldn't last a mile. Summertime, wintertime, I'm on the grind. Yeah, I got the ring, I'm the champ, I'm the genie of the lamp. This is the gift I was given, so I just live by my hustle.
It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Yeah. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Yeah. It's all about the Benjamins, baby.
Yeah, keep me put in my pocket. It don't make sense, but don't make a profit. It's all a hustle, ladies and homies. Make money, money.